Hey guys, so I thought I'd just kind of go over the 2018 reveals from RuneFest and kind of give my thoughts on them. So we're just going to start off at the top with the Kerbal lands. So since Zarek's Aegis Strife, armies of his lizardmen have attempted to reclaim Great Karen in honor of their former ruler. These lizardmen make their home in the Kerbal lands to the west of Karen. The lizardmen will defend their home ruthlessly, and as such, the Kerbal lands can be very dangerous to humans. However, those who are willing to enter will find the land of many opportunities. So, Farming Guild. The land deep within the Kerbal lands is home to soil more fertile than anywhere else on Gilnor. Land this fertile is highly appealing to members of the Hosidius house, even with the threat of the Lizardmen. Following an agreement between Lord Hosidius and Lord Shazian, a detachment of Shazian soldiers have been assigned to protect the area. This has allowed Hosidius House to build and maintain a guild where farmers can experiment and master their craft. The Farming Guild is a new guild found in the Kerbal lands. The guild is separated into 3 large greenhouses, where each one acts as a different tier of the guild. The first tier requires 45 farming to enter, the second requires 65, and the third requires 85. Entering the guild requires 60% Hosidius favor, and it is also possible to boost your stats into the guilds. So the first tier requires 45 farming. You get a guild master, a bank, an equipment shop, which has the same supplies as other farm stores, with the exception that it also sells empty plant pots alongside filled ones. Okay. A seed shop offers the same stock as Draenor Seed Market. They're honestly just adding this just because the seed market in Draenor is always going to be mostly out of stock, always, just because there's Ironmen buying them from the store instead of going to master farmers to get them because they're too lazy to do thieving. Gardener supplier. A supplier offers the same stock as Fodder Garden Center. Okay, water source, a large compost bin. A large compost bin with double the capacity of normal ones. So I'll talk about that more when we get down to it. Cactus patch is identical to one Alcahera. There's a farmer here who looked at the patch for you. Another allotment, herb and fire patch. Yeah, bush patch and to leprechaun. So the second tier. Water source, another tree patch. Okay. Hespori patch. When this patch finishes growing, it can be fought as a basic demi-boss fight with various rewards. Alright, we'll talk about that later. Anemia patch, a new patch, and with worldwide effects depending on what is grown. That's going to be interesting to see what actually those worldwide effects are. And a tool leprechaun. Okay, the third tier. It's going to come with a bank, a water source, a fruit tree patch, a spirit tree patch, a redwood patch, a celestials patch, and a tool leprechaun. Okay, I mean, the tree patch and the fruit tree patch, there hasn't been a new one. So, I mean, and we've had, what, 2? We've had another herb patch with the latest quest, my friend, or my arm one that Monash made. And we're also looking to get this one. So, I also do think it's about time that we do get an additional tree patch and a fruit tree patch. And also nice to see another spirit tree, because they're always nice to have and good for nice to be able to teleport there a little bit quicker depending on where it's located. So farming contracts. Within the farming guild you also find the chief contractor. The chief contractor can assign players with contracts that require the player to grow certain crops within the farming guild in exchange for seed packs. Okay, really don't like that, but that's just my personal opinion. There are 3 tiers of contracts available, Tier 1, 2, and 3. Each contract offering is restricted based on what you can grow in Tier 1, 2, 3. So basically they're just taking farming and they're meshing it with Slayer, because everyone's favorite skill is Slayer. New patch. It wouldn't be an expansion to the farming if we didn't include some brand new patches for you to grow various crops, and the farming guild has a lot to offer. So farming demi-boss, the Hespori patch requires 65 farming. The Hespori patch is a new patch unique to the second tier of the farming guild. The only thing that can be grown here is a Hespori plant. The seeds for this plant can be found randomly while harvesting other plants. So this can be toggled by talking to an NPC under the patch or by completing farming contracts. There is an NPC here who will look at the patch while you plant it for a price. I mean, an NPC is never going to look after a patch for free. I mean, the only time you get that is when you have the Fairly Elite Diary. So, I mean, I guess they have to include that, but it's really not needed. Just that part. So, once the patch has fully grown, the Hespori plant can be fought as a solo demi-boss. Killing the Hespori boss grants farming experience. No thank you. It has a loot table of siege, including the unique white lily seeds. Alongside being the only way for players to gather untradeable anemia seeds, the Hespori also has a chance of dropping the bottomless compost bucket, which can hold up to 1 million compost of any kind. Alright, so if it is a bottomless compost bin, why does it have a limit? Just saying. The Hespori is an instance with an item reclaim service that works identically to other grey systems like Grotesque Guardian, Zora, and Warcraft. Now, when they say this, I'm not sure if they mean it's going to have a fee or not, because, well, I'm not sure about Grotesque Guardians, because I've never actually killed them, so I'm not sure if you die if there's a fee or anything. But I know Zora is free, and Warcraft has a 100k fee. So when they say it like that, is there going to be a fee, or is there not going to be a fee? So that's kind of iffy, and it's kind of, they don't add one like how TOB also has one, but and can only be utilized at any time. This means any other grays will react on death. So bottomless compost bucket can be filled with regular, super, or ultra compost. Can only have one type of compost inside of it at once. Each compost used gives the buckets 2 charges of that kind of compost. Emptying the bucket will cause all compost to be stored with and to be lost. When used on a patch, the bucket uses 1 charge of the current filled compost. The bucket can hold a maximum of 10k charges. The bucket is tradable when empty. Okay. So this thing right here is completely stupid. This should not even been a thought that come into their head, because why? It's just so stupid. It's like a 1 for 2. You have 1 compost, well now you actually have 2 buckets of compost. But they say up here it can hold up to 1 million compost of any kind, but it has a maximum of 10k charges, and each compost used give the buckets 2 charges. So wouldn't that mean it actually can only hold up to 500 bucket or 5,000 buckets, because 5,000 buckets would give it the 10k charges for it to be full? So kind of contradicting themselves here, and I really don't like this. If this wasn't here, I would be completely fine, or I would not completely fine, but I would be okay with the quote-unquote bottomless compost bucket. So moving on to the anemia patch, which requires 76 farming. The anemia patch is a new patch unique to the 2nd tier of the farming guild. Planting something here has worldwide effects on all other patches. There are 4 types of seeds that can be planted here, which can only be attained through fighting the Hespori and are untradeable. So Attis seeds. When planted, these grow into the Attis plant. This plant provides increased yield to all other patches in the game. So this is basically just similar to I think my memory serves me right, the Kandarin Heart Diary Reward, which increases the yield to the herb patch. And I'm not sure if any other diaries have it, but that's just the one that kind of came to the top of my head. So I mean, then again, this is mainly just for players that actually play a non-limited account that actually do herb runs, or mainly just for Iron Man mode. So Iron Man mode dictating updates yet again. So Isosaur seeds. When planted, these seeds grow into an Isosaur plant. This plant decreases the disease chance for all other patches in the game. So this is kind of a nice thing, but I mean the chance is already pretty low with the ultra compost being introduced in the game, which makes it, I believe, a 1 out of 16 chance for your patch to die. And then you also have I think there's a spell in the Arceus spellbook, which is a revive dead crop, but also which also really lowers the chance of a patch dying, because you can also revive it. But a nice thing that they put this in there to just kind of give this some use. And the Chronos seeds. When planted, these grow into a Chronos plant. This plant increases the speed at which other patches grow by providing a chance to skip a growth stage. Now, with this, I don't know if it'd be that useful, because when you kind of do your herb runs, tree runs, or however you do farming, you kind of want all your things to be at the same stage. So when you go, they're all grown. But you're not going to go and do a herb run or something like that if one's done 1 or 2 stages early, if all your other ones aren't done. I mean, I don't know, I just think that this is just kind of something they just kind of plopped in there to kind of give this some more use. So moving on, these patches are active as soon as they are planted, and rather than grow over time, they begin to die through their various growth stages. These plants will last approximately 3.5 days until they die and will require planting again to reap their benefits. So this is actually a pretty cool mechanic that they're adding in farming, because it's usually you have to wait for them to grow, but you plant them and they're already grown when they die. So I kind of like that mechanic. I would like to see if they kind of add anything else, if they add anything else into the farming skill. So we're going to move on to the Celestius patch, which requires 85 farming. So the Celestius patch is a new patch unique to the 3rd tier of the farming guild. Once a Celestius patch has fully grown, which is 16 hours, the same length they require to grow a fruit tree, it can be harvested for a tradable resource. So Celestius wood, which can be turned into battle stats with level 40 fletching. So this is also kind of like maybe to battle against bots buying battle staffs, and also kind of a Iron Man thing. I wish they kind of would have. See, I'm kind of iffy on it, because like, if it's actually like really good for battle staffs, I mean, I kind of but I mean, it's also kind of nice that you kind of get these from skilling, instead of kind of like for Iron Man kind of PVMing for all your battle staffs and all your crafting supplies like that. So I'm definitely excited to kind of see if it's just going to kind of be like a 1-for-1 ratio, if you're going to get more battle staffs than that, because they consider 85 farming to be, I mean, it is high, but like having this for like farming, you're pretty much just farming battle staffs. It's like 0-time farming battle staff, so I'm kind of iffy on that. I'll most likely be voting no if that ever comes to a poll. And the amount of Celestius wood harvested from a fully grown Celestius patch is random, much like the way harvesting herbs works, with a minimum number of lives to ensure a guaranteed amount each harvest. So they did include that if the magic secretaries will have an effect on this, so they should probably clarify, like with parentheses, if the magic secretaries will have an effect on it or not. So hopefully they kind of add some more information on that later on. Then we have the Redwood patch. So the Redwood patch is a new patch unique to the 3rd tier of the farming guild. Once fully grown, which is 85.3 hours, the same length required to grow a mahogany tree, the Redwood patch turns into a redwood tree, can be cut down for logs and wood can experience. The Redwood patch is relatively close to a blank, found within, blah blah blah. Don't really care about that. Maybe they could have add. I mean, I'm kind of like looking ahead, and like they include like XP for stuff down here. Not sure why they couldn't have added the XP for the Redwood patch. So would like to see when they add that later on. Then we have the large compost bin, which requires 45 farming to access. So the large compost bin works the same way as any other compost bin, but has the added benefit of being able to store double the usual amount of compost. So I mean, in my opinion, this is kind of like dead content. I mean, it is, but like also not really, just because if you do your herb runs and you only get your compost from the compost bin in Catherby, you get more compost than you really use. So you really don't need to use that, but I guess it's also kind of nice, just kind of like build up your compost bin. So I did for that. Then we have existing patch improvements. Whilst the farming guild introduces various new patches with new crops, there are certain patches in game that we'd also like to utilize by adding new crops for you to grow. Dragon fruit trees, which require 81 farming. Dragon fruit trees can be grown in fruit tree patches around Gilnor. The seeds are tradable and rarely obtained through nests, boss drops, or by completing farming contracts. Dragon fruit trees have the same growth time as other fruit trees and give the following farming experience: 140 XP for planting, 17,335 XP for checking its health, and 70 XP for harvesting. Harvesting a dragon fruit tree gives you dragon fruit, a new item that can either be eaten to heal 10 hit points, or they can be baked into dragon fruit pies at 73 cooking. Nice meme number. Dragon fruit pies heal 10 hit points by serving and providing a temporary boost of +4. In addition to being a useful stat boosting food, 10 dragon fruit can be squeezed into a vial to make a bottled dragon breath. This can be used to fully charge the Dragon Breath shield and similar shields instantly. Alright, I have a big problem with the Dragon Fruit trees. So, if we look at... let me pull it up. So, I know palm trees are 68 farming and give about 10k XP. So let me just pull it over so we can Okay, that's kind of messed it up. Oh, it actually doesn't show up because, okay. So I'm looking at palm trees, and they give 68 XP. You get 110.5 for planting. You get 10,150.1 XP for checking its health, and 41.5 XP for harvesting it. So, I mean, I really don't like that jump from 10,150 to 17,335. I mean, it's just a huge jump in XP for, in my opinion, not that many levels. I mean, maybe if it was in like the 90s, I'd see maybe it being, maybe it should be given that amount of XP. But if the dragon fruit, if this comes to a poll, I'll be voting no, just mainly just because of that. So then, and then another thing with it, this is really like a big problem with it is this, they say in addition to being a useful stat boosting food, and it boosts fletching, with fletching being the fastest skill to train, it's just a big fucking, excuse my language, it's just a big forehead. But one thing I kind of do like is that it can be, the 10 dragon fruit can be squeezed into a vial to make bottled dragon breath. This can be used to fully charge dragon fire shield. So currently the fastest way that I know of and that I personally use is I go to Nightmare Zone and I make a dream practice of Elvarg, and it usually takes a couple minutes to charge it. So this will just be a lot faster. They can just buy a thing and just charge it up. The only thing that kind of make it worth or not worth doing is the price of the bottle dragon breath. So moving on, white lilies requires 58 farming. So white lily can be grown in flower patches around Gilnor. The seeds are only dropped by the Hespori, but they are tradable. White lily has the same growth time as other flowers and gives the farming experience. 42 XP for planting and 250 XP for harvesting. When fully grown, a flower patch with white lily in it will protect all other crops in adjacent flower patches. I mean, this doesn't really affect anything I'm really gonna do, so I'm kind of indifferent about it. I don't really see this having use instead of kind of looking nice in a flower patch, other than having nastriums, I believe. Yeah, nastriums. So, yeah, moving on. So we have potato cacti, which require 64 farming. Potato cacti can be grown in cactus patches around Gilnor. The seeds are tradable and are rarely obtained through nests, boss drops, or by completing farming contracts. Potato cacti take 70 minutes to fully grow and give the following farming experience: 68 XP for planting and 68 XP for harvesting. With the introduction of potato cacti seeds, potato cacti would be removed from Nightmare Zone. Okay, so this is just kind of like a nice update for Iron Man, just to kind of make it easier to get potato cacti than kind of just more PVMing for all your secondaries and stuff like that. You actually get it from farming. Just be interesting to see like how many you're going to get per patch. So moving on to snapegrass, which requires 71 farming. Snapegrass can be grown in allotment patches around Gilnor. The seeds are tradable and are rarely obtained through nest boss drops or by completing farming contracts. Snapegrass takes 70 minutes to fully grow and get the following farming experience: 82 XP for planting, 82 XP for harvesting. With the introduction of snapegrass seeds, snapegrass would be removed from the Nightmare reward shop. So this is also a kind of thing, just mostly for Iron Man, instead of collecting them from Waterworth Island and banking them, you can now just farm them. So just another thing to add to your farm runs. So it's like, so then we have brimstone. On the northern edge of the Kebla land lies the sulfur volcano of Mount Kurlum. Here the Tasakal, masters of life and death, make their home. Within the shadow of this volcano lies brimstone, home to the Cathlith. I think that's how you say that. These beings were once human, but they've abandoned their previous lives, and the name of the Tasakal. Together, the Tasakal and the Cathlith work together to maintain the balance between life and death. Assist them, and you might be rewarded. Within Brimstone, you'll find Konar, the newest Slayer Master. There is also a bank for the deposit box and a poll booth, a furnace, and a weapon shop that sells some low-level weapons. New Slayer Master. So Konar, a member of the Calith race, is a new Slayer Master located in the Brimstone that is accessible to players with 75 combat Counter is a little different when compared to your usual Slayer Master, that is tasks he assigns you required to kill monsters in a specific area. Going out of your way to complete tasks from Counter has its benefits. Each task completed from Counter's rewards the player with 18 Slayer reward points, and all kills on his task from Master have a chance of hitting a new global loot table. The chance of hitting this loot table is scaled with the combat level of the NPC you're fighting, and the loot is granted in addition to any normal loot you would receive. The loot table is split into 2 potential rewards. Okay, so first off, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's 75 combat to access, whereas Neve/Steve requires 85, and Dirt requires 100 combat. But yet it gives more Slayer points than any of them. But I guess they kind of do balance it, whereas you have to kill it in a specific area. So we're going to move on to this. So the generic loot meant as a slight increase to your profits, including food, to sustain you on task. You can honestly just cut that out, and I'd be okay with it. Rare chance of getting a new unique drop of a tradable one-handed dragon Hosta. So 55 stab, slash, and crush bonus with 60 melee strength and attack rate of 4. So this is just like a worse Zamrakan Hosta. So this is like this is just pretty much just going to be a 60 attack Zamrakan Hosta. And moving on, so the Dragon Hosta is a new tradable one-handed weapon, dropped exclusively through completing tasks assigned by Counter. This is how boots is done for 200 GP. These require 44 Slayer to equip and are needed to go inside the Brimstone Slayer dungeon needed below. So I'm not sure if you're going to actually need these to, like, once you enter, you can just take them off, or if you actually need to have them in for the whole time. So we're going to move on to the new Slayer creatures. With the new Slayer Master comes new Slayer creatures and a new area to kill them. Near Brimstone lies the sulfur volcanic of Mount Kurlum, home to the brand new Slayer dungeon. The Mount Kurlum Slayer dungeon is a single-way combat throughout and includes task-only area. Cannons are allowed in the entire dungeon, aside from a separate chamber where the Alchemic Hydra can be found. In order to stay inside the dungeon safely, you need to wear the boots of stone, else you take considerable damage until you do. Okay, so yeah, they do clarify down here that you do need to have these on the whole time, so this pretty much just means you're just going to wear these instead of your Primordials, Pegasians, or internal boots. And I kind of do like that it's single way and cannons only, so this is kind of different from the Catacombs of Karen and more like the 2014, 2015's Neve K method where it's just melee and cannons. So Sulfur Lizards, which require 44 Slayer. Sulfur Lizards located within the Brimstone Slayer dungeon are assigned by, I'm not even going to pronounce that, he's just the Slayer Master, and Canifis, Vanica, and Shaldir. They have no noteworthy mechanics or drops and attack with melee only. They are intended to add some additional variety to the low-level Slayer bracket. Slayer Masters that assign Desert Lizards would instead assign Lizards, allowing players to kill either Desert or Sulfur Lizards to complete this task. So this is kind of nice just because Desert Lizards are really annoying to kill, and just kind of give a little, add some variety to it. So we have Worms. So worms located within, which require 62 Slayer, are located within the Brimstone Slayer dungeon, are assigned by Durdle, Neve, Shelter, and Counter. Worms have a very rare chance to drop the Dragon Sword and Dragon Harpoon previously found within the Chambers of Xeric. Both the items would be removed from the Chambers of Xeric loot table. Now, I'm not too sure how I feel about this, just because I'm not entirely, I really don't know the loot table mechanics when it comes to uniques in the Chambers of Xeric. So I wish kind of would add some more detail, or maybe later on they'll add some more detail how this would actually affect the loot tables from Chambers of Xeric. So we have Drakes, which require 84 Slayer. Drakes located within the Brimstone Slayer dungeon are assigned by Durdle, Neve, and Connor. They do not fly and use both melee and ranged attacks. Drakes have a chance to drop their claws and teeth, both which are attachments for boots. A Drake claw can be combined with the Boots of Stone to create the tradable Boots of Brimstone. The process cannot be undone. Boots of Brimstone require 70 defense, 70 magic, 70 range, and 44 Slayer to equip. They have a attack bonus of 3 stab, 3 magic, and 5 range with no other bonuses. So yeah, just kind of overall bonus to that to kind of give you some little bit more DPS when you're actually doing melee in there. Okay, so then we also have Drake Tooth can be combined with Holy Sandals to create a tradable Devote Boots. This process cannot be undone. Devote Boots require 60 prayer to equip and are considered an item of Sarah element inside the God Wars dungeon. So, then they give a 5 prayer bonus. So this is just kind of an upgrade to the Holy Sandals. They give 2 more prayer bonus, whereas the Holy Sandals only give a 2 prayer bonus, and these will going to give 5. So onto Hydra, which requires 95 Slayer. Hydra is located within the Brimstone Slayer dungeon, are assigned exclusively by Connor. They use both range and magic attacks. Hydras have a chance to drop 3 untradeable ring pieces and a Hydra tail, which is an attachment for the Dragon Boat necklace. Eye of the Hydra, Fang of the Hydra, and Heart of the Hydra. When combined, these pieces form the tradable Brimstone ring. This ring has no requirements to equip and has a 1/4 chance with each spell cast to ignore 10% of your opponent's total magic defense. So the bonuses of this are pretty much just it's just combining all the rings in the game, pretty much. Their unimbued version, and I guess if this can be imbued, they'll match it, and with the special effect of the 1/4 chance of ignoring the 10% of the opponent's total magic defense. So the really only use for this is going to be in kind of PvP Surveyors. Other than that, there's really no use I see for this ring. So we move on to the Hydra Tail. When Hydra Tail is combined with a Dragon Bone Necklace and a Bone Crusher, it forms the untradeable Bone Crusher Necklace. This necklace requires 80 per to equip and gives the effect of both the Bone Crusher and the Dragon Bone Necklace. The necklace must be equipped for 9 seconds to gain the effect of the Dragon Bone Necklace. The necklace is charged with Echo tokens as per the Bone Crusher and maintains the same prayer restoration as the Dragon Bone Necklace. The effects of the Bone Crusher also apply as well as the Bone Crusher Necklace is in your inventory. The process of combining these items is irreversible. So yeah, this is just pretty much just gonna mostly just kind of replace the Bone Crusher, and I guess if you actually do use the Dragon Bone Necklace, this is kind of also be nice for that. So we have the Alchemeric Hydra, which requires 95 Slayer. The Alchemeric Hydra, located within the Brimstone Slayer dungeon, is a new solo Slayer boss assigned exclusively by Connor. It can only be fought as part of Hydra Slayer task or a boss task. The Alchemeric Hydra will not be an easy opponent, and such you will be well rewarded if you manage to defeat it. It has a chance to drop the Ferocious Gloves, a Hydra Claw, which is an attachment for the Zamorakian Hasta, all Hydra unique drops, and of course, a pet Alchemeric Hydra. So, Ferocious Gloves. Ferocious Gloves are a new tradable pair of gloves with a focus on offensive melee that requires 70 defense to equip. So, they give 16 and all the melee attack bonuses with the -16 the magic of the range with also 14 melee strength. So these are pretty much just kind of going to be a replacement for Barrow's Gloves for melee, as these give a 16 bonus, while as the Barrow's Gloves only give a +12, but the Barrow's Gloves do give a +6 in magic and a +12 in range. And the Barrow's Gloves only give a 12 strength bonus, while as these gets a 14. I really don't like, the only part I really don't like about this is that they're tradable. So this is just really just gonna make Barrow's Gloves completely useless if of course you have 70 defense. So if they made these untradeable, I would be happier with it, but hopefully they do come back to this and decide to make these untradeable. So moving on to the Hydra Claw. When Hydra Claw is combined with the Zamorakian Hasta, it forms the tradable Dragon Hunter Lance. This process cannot be undone. The lance requires 70 attack to equip and has an added effect of 20% increased accuracy and damage against dragon creatures, though it loses its defensive capabilities during its creation. So this gives 85 stab, 65 slash, 65 crush, and 70 melee strength with the same attack rate. Or it's going to be a little bit, because it says attack rate of 4, and I'm looking at the Hasta, it has a 6, so it's going to be definitely a better, well, it has the same stab bonus as the Zamorakian Hasta. So it's just it's probably going to be, it's definitely going to be better or a better weapon against dragons than the Hasta. I mean, you do lose 5 melee strength, and you lose 2 prayer bonus, but it does have a faster attack rate, and you do get the extra 20% increased accuracy and damage. You do lose the defensive capabilities, but DPS is usually always better than defensive capabilities when killing dragons anyway. So, additional drops. Alongside the individual drops mentioned above, you'll have a chance to receive dragon knives and dragon throwing axes from worms, drakes, hydras, and the alchemeric hydra. Dragon throwing axes would be removed from the Chambers of Zerk loot table. As mentioned above, I do kind of want to see how this will also affect the Chambers of Zerk loot table, because I know it's kind of iffy with the uniques and stuff like that. So then we have dragon knives. Dragon knives are tradable, requiring 60 range to equip, and can be poisoned. They have a special attack duality, which costs 25% special attack energy and causes 2 knives to be thrown at once, each with their own accuracy and damage rolls. So comparing these to the rune knives, they do have 3 more range attack bonus. It's kind of weird that they do have a melee strength bonus, them being knives. I'm not sure why that is. I would like to see it be more of a range bonus. So we'll see about that. So then I don't really have anything more to say, so we're just going to move on to the next thing. So new unique bones. With the introduction of new creatures, we bring new type of bones. Worm bones offer 30 per XP, Drake bones offer 60 per XP, Hydra bones offer 90 per XP. Both Hydras and Alchemeric Hydra drop these. These bones will work in the usual way with other features like Gilded and Ectofunct. So let me look at the other bones we have in the game real quick. Kind of see the difference in them, but I'm pretty sure they'll be worse XP because I believe dragon bones give higher XP. Oh no, okay, so these will give, so dragon bones give 72. So with it giving that much extra prayer, so let's times that by 3.5. So that's going to be 315 if you use it on a gilded altar. So that will increase your prayer XP per hour if you do use these. Oh, if you do use the Hydro Bones. Not too sure how I feel about these, but we're just going to move on to aerial fishing. So in the middle of Lake Mulch, I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure actually how you say it. There's a small island to Nicholas Luchark, a particular fisherman with a very different approach to catching. Nicholas uses birds, specifically cormorants, to catch and return fish and salamanders that take residence in the nearby waters. Similar to falconry when trading hunter, the player equips the bird on their arm. When clicking a fishing pole, the bird swoops down and returns to the player with the catch. If the player's inventory is full, the bird swallows the catch and doesn't award any experience to the player. The player must have both hands free to wield the bird. A catch is guaranteed for each time the bird is sent. The pools of fish move at somewhat frequent rate at around 7 to 12 seconds, so kind of similar to how the minnows pool changes. Multiple people can catch from the same pool, and we'll see people fishing from all sides of the circular island. If the bird is sent while its pool is moving to new locations, it still counts as a successful catch. King worms are used as a starting bait, which can be gathered on the island. When the player starts to catch fish, they can cut the fish into a stackable fish chunks. The bird will take one chunk every 3 to 6 catches, every 3 to 6 catches as a reward for gathering the fish. There are 4 types. There are 4 types of catch found in Lake Mulch. Bluegill. Bluegill require 43 fishing and 35 hunter to catch with aerial fishing. Common tench. Common tench requires 56 fishing and 51 hunter to catch. Molted eel, which requires 73 fishing and 68 hunter. And finally, the greater siren. The greater siren requires 91 fishing and 87 hunter to catch. Would be interesting to see how this would compare with the XP rates of bar fishing and stuff like that. That'll be interesting when they add that actually how much XP each fish will give later on. So we have mulch pearls. Mulch pearls can be fished up from Lake Mulch. Well, yeah, when arrow fishing, they have a 1 out of 150 chance of being fished up on a successful catch. They are stackable and can be traded with the angler in his pearl store for various untradeable rewards. So you can get an equipable fishing rod, equipable fly fishing rod, equipable barbarian fishing rod. Can we purchase if you got on the rough? with Odo and Fish Stack. Golden Tench. In addition to your expected catch when fishing with your cormorant, there is a very slim chance that it will return with an extremely rare Golden Tench. This is a fish that can be equipped in the hands and has no stats, is not tradable. It's kind of just giving some more fashionscape to the fishing outfit. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, it looks okay. I'll say that. So, it has no stats. At 43 fishing and 35 hunter, you should expect to earn approximately 17k fishing, 25k hunter, and 5k cooking experience per hour from arrow fishing. It's only guaranteed if you're cutting the catch. Okay. At a low of 99 fishing and 99 hunter, you should expect approximately 60k fishing, 80k hunter, and 15k cooking experience per hour. Wow. Oh. So this is pretty much just going to be, you're pretty much just going to do this if you're not planning on doing any barb fishing for your strength and agility XP, or if you're just going to AFK barb, because you get similar rates to AFK barb when you're doing this, but you also get an insane amount of hunter XP for fishing, and also a decent amount of cooking XP. I think that might be similar to cut eating if you're 3-taking barb, but I'm not too sure. So we have the Current and Kebos Achievement Diary. In my opinion, it's about time we actually get an Achievement Diary for Current, so let's actually look at the requirements for it and the rewards for it. The Current and Kebos Achievement Diary is a new achievement diary covering the regions of both Great Current and the Kebos Lowlands. It will work in the same way as other achievement diaries, and full completion of this diary will be required for the Diary Cape. The taskmaster for this diary will be found in the courtyard of the Current Castle. A teleport him will be added to the Diary Cape. To fully complete the Karen and Kebos diaries, you will need to meet the following requirements: 25 construction, 30 crafting, 40 fletching, 42 mining, 49 thieving, 50 firemaking, 77 rune crafting, 82 fishing, 84 cooking, 85 farming, 90 magic, 90 woodcutting, and 95 slayer. So, completing the Karen and Kebos achievement diary will grant players various rewards, including the Radha's Blessing, which upgrades with each tier of the diary completed. This is a new blessing that can be equipped in the ammo slot. So we have the Easy Diary. So no stats, 3 daily teleport to the Karen Woodlands, and has a 2% chance to catch 2 fish at once. No XP is given for these. I do like that. No additional XP. 2.5k XP lamp. Hat cost, access for the Crab Call Island, and double drop rate for the Zark's Talisman. Then we have the Medium Diary, which gives it a +1 pair bonus and 5 daily teleports to the Karen Woodland, and a 4% chance to catch 2 fish. 7.5k XP lamp, free access to the Crab Call Island, 5% chance to mine 2 dense essence blocks at once, so going to be a buff to blood and soul rune crafting. Interesting how that will affect XP rates. 20 free dynamite a day from Thyrsis, and the rewards from the previous diary tiers. So we have the Hard Diary, which is going to be same priority bonus as the one above, unlimited daily teleports to the Karen Woodland, and 3 daily teleports to the Brimstone, and has a 6% chance to catch 2 fish at once. 15k XP lamp, ability to combine a Slayer helmet and a Shazian helm 5 by talking to Captain Cleve. Not sure if that really have. Oh, I guess this would be a nice buff if you do get when you kill the Lizardmen to go for the Dragon Warhammer, so you can actually have the Slayer helmet and the Shazian armor. So that's going to make that task a little bit faster. 5% increase yield from the Odysseus and farming herb patches. Okay, and 40 for your dynamite take from Thyrsis. Then we have the Elite Diary. So you're going to get an extra +1 pair bonus, unlimited daily teleports to the Karen Woodland, unlimited daily teleports to the Brimstone, and an 8% chance to catch 2 fish at once. I'm going to get it. 50k XP lamp, 20 Slayer ports for completing a Slayer task from Karnar. So that's a +2. 10% reduced burn chance at the city kitchens, 80 free dynamite from Tenders, and the reward from the producer. So the really only good rewards from this is going to be the 5% chance to mine 2 dark essence blocks at once, and the 5% increased yield from the herb patches. Other than that, nothing really else is too outstanding from this. So I'm going to move on to the Forsaken Tower. For thousands of years, the Winter Tide has remained safely sealed behind the great doors of Din. At last, despite the best attempts of the Lobocane Smiths and the Arcade Mages, the doors are failing. Only Din himself knew the secrets behind the creation of these doors. Without his knowledge, there may be nothing to stop Winter Tonic escaping and bringing ruin upon Karen. It is up to you to recover this knowledge. The Forsaken Tower is a brand new novice quest that further develops the story of the houses of Karen. This quest can be started by speaking to Levi, Volcana, Loverkinge, and Loverkinge House. So let's see. So 20 client of the current quest and 20% Loverkinge Folger. And let's look at the rewards. So you're going to get 1 quest point, 6k coins, 500 magic spears, 500 smithing XP, 10% Loverkinge favor, and the memoir page from Loverkinge, granting additional 8 charges and new teleporter. Okay. So then we have the Ascent of Arceus quest. A long time ago, the citizens of Arceus House gave up their human bodies and claimed immortality. The event was known as the Ascent of Arceus and has marked the end of death within the Arceus House, or so they believed. For the first time in thousands of years, a member of the Arceus House has fallen. You will need to solve the mystery of his death. However, time is of the essence, and the fate of the Arceus House lies in your hands. The Ascent of the Arceus is a brand new novice quest that further develops the story of the houses of Karen. The quest can be started by speaking to Mori in the Arceus House. So let's look at the requirements. Client of the Karen, 12 Hunter, and 20% Arceus favor, and rewards. 1 quest point, 2k coins, 1.5k Hunter XP, 500 Runecrafting XP, 10% Arceus favor, and the Arceus memoir page, which is going to give you another 8 charges and the teleport near the Arceus House. Your feedback. So we intended to pull the Cablesoul lands and all the detail combined within the section of the blog shortly after RuneFest ends. Please make sure you have expanded the various sections to see all the information in the blog. Your feedback is valuable, important to us. We're just going to skip the rest of that, and we're going to move on to the big controversial thing and the new skill, warding. So we're just going to get straight into it. So the ground shook across the land as 6 ominous rocks rose from the earth in a swirl of magic and rubble. The scholars of the Wizards, however, were quick to act and immediately began studying the monolithic monasteries, or monstrosities. They quickly discovered a new method of manipulating the energy within the rocks, and various magical tools used it to create armors and with impressive capabilities. Some would say this came far too easy, as if they knew exactly what they were doing. Dive into Old School RuneScape's first new skill by discovering the new hidden armaments of the Wizard Towers and gaining insight into the practicing of warding. There you will learn the intricate art of drawing wards and channeling runic energy to create a vast array of armor suited for witches and wizards. And we have a picture of the skill cape here, and I honestly think the skill cape looks really cool. I do like the purple and the grayish black look. Props to whichever JMod designed the cape. Looks very good. So where does warding fit into Old School? To understand the role of warding, let's identify the gap it's designed to fill. As smithing is to melee, crafting is to range, warding is to magic. Currently, mage equipment is either bought or dropped by monsters rather than created by the player, making magic an exception to the other 2 sides of the combat triangle. Warding allows players to channel runic energy into woven materials and transforms them into magical robes and armor. To train warding, players must draw a ward onto the ground and use materials they have gathered into it. This channels the power of the Omnium Martyr, the form of the runic energy, into materials. So this is just going to be another Bible add to the skill. I was honestly kind of hoping for another Gatherer, but this is honestly a really interesting skill that they're proposing being added. And considering the other 2 skills that they proposed were Artisan and Sailing, I would honestly like to see this as Old School RuneScape's first new skill. So we're going to move on to materials. The materials used in warding will include various sparks, cloths, and leathers. These can be woven from raw materials acquired by farming, hunter, and killing certain monsters. To create new equipment, new prey will be added to the hunter skill, and new crops will be added to farming. The latter will include a mangeray for cultivating worms and harvesting their silk. Runic energy. Runic energy is a powerful new resource contained within the runestone monoliths. Players can draw runic the energy out and store it by casting spells on the monoliths. This gives players the option to train magic by splashing, but with the added benefit of gathering a useful resource at the same time. This should take splashers out of Lumbridge Castle basement and spread them across Gilnar at more thematic locations. Wearing equipment that provides a magical bonus will increase the runic energy potential, breaking up the army of graceful clones. It would also be possible to passively collect energy at rune altars when rune crafting. The energy will be a tiered resource, meaning you would gather mine essence at one runic monolith and death energy at another, for example. The tier of the energy you will need for warding depends on your level and the equipment you wish to create. A conversation for the system which will allow runic energy to be upgraded or downgraded, but some will be lost in the process. Okay, so according to this, it's going to be really interesting. So I do like that they're trying to take the splashers out of the Lumbridge Castle and area, because I do think that, like, logging in as a new player, or just logging into Lumbridge, even as an experienced player, and seeing all the splashers is just a really bad thing to see. So we have tools. Soapstones. The first tools used for warding are soapstones. These are created by chiseling a lump of... I'm not even going to try to say it. And charging it with runes. This material can be obtained through mining or bought from shops or other players. You can create 4 different soapstones depending on the runes you wish to charge them: air, water, earth, and fire. The more powerful the soapstone will require the higher warding level to use, but have an added benefit. This may take the form of reduced runic energy consumption, but is subject to balancing. You will be able to use wards drawn by other players to receive the benefit of higher level soapstones when training, adding a social element to the skill. While you can draw a ward anywhere, players may choose to ward at a runic monolith sites for lower rates of runic energy use at the cost of being further away from the bank. So basically this is just going to be, if you want a better GP per XP ratio, you're going to do it at a runic monolith site, but you are going to get lower XP rates since you're going to be farther from a bank. But this can also be subsidized by just teleporting to a bank. But we're just going to move on to channeling lamps. Channeling lamps are equipable tools used to store runic energy. When casting spells on runic monoliths or rune crafting, the runic energy you generate will fill the lamp you have equipped. Higher level lamps will be required to gather higher tier energy or use that at a ward. So we have a step-by-step guide to warding. A player gather raw resources from farming, hunter, or trade which are woven in or prepared into material. Then runic energy is gathered by casting spells on a runestone monolith or by rune crafting and stored in a channeling lamp. Player draws a ward on the ground with the soapstone, uses the material and channeling the runic energy in them to create magical equipment. So below is a partial table of how we imagine the Warden's Guild guide to appear. This includes the item level and resources required. So we have the wizard skirt being one. So we have all the wizard equipment first, which is going to require magic cloth and mine energy. Then we have the Zamrock robes, which magic with this magic cloth, holy cloth, and chaos energy. The druid robes with holy cloth and cosmic energy. Then we have the monk robes with holy cloth and cosmic energy. Then we have the Xerix with Xerix fabric and chaos energy. Okay, so I'm guessing not too sure we're gonna. So you're probably gonna get the magic cloths and the holy cloth stuff like that by disassembling the wizard, Zamrock, druid robes, and monk robes and stuff like that. Alright, so we're going to move on to other perks. Dissolving. Another use for warding is to take the form of dissolving. This involves the undesired or junk items and using them on a ward to break them down. In return, you receive runic energy and a chance to get back some of the components the item is made of. For example, dissolving an adamant plate body will give you the chance of receiving back some adamant bar. This is actually a really cool concept. For players that aren't familiar with RS3 and Invention, it's something that you just take an item, you dissolve it, and you get components. And it's a really cool thing that they have in the game that kind of gave value to a lot of junk items. And I'm actually really happy to see that the old school team actually incorporated this into a new skill. So then we have Nightmare Zone. You may consider the Nightmare Zone to be overpowered. This is true. It is something that should have never passed a poll or come into the game, and I am just very biased, and I just overall hate the minigame and everything that it brings to the game. And particularly the Roar Chop. That's a problem that some players may have, but my problems with it lie somewhere else. To make both Nightmare Zone and Warding feel as thematic and old school as possible, there is an option to tie the ability to imbue rings and other items through various warding levels. I'm okay with that, just as long as remove everything from Nightmare Zone, and if possible just make this Nightmare Zone just dead content. So impacts of warding on old school. We appreciate this. this is a lot to take in and that many of you will have an avalanche of questions for Mod West and the old school team. At the end of this blog, there are links to the feedback threads where you may ask questions and discuss ideas for the skill. We have also anticipated some of the questions you may have and have done our best to answer them. Bear in mind, much of this subject is subject to change, and some of it may be irrelevant as the skill takes shape. Is warding available to non-members? Similar to smithing and crafting, warding is designed to be open to free-to-play players with the highest level equipment, specialized items will be members only. We expect the lower level items up to around level 40 to be available for free-to-play. So that's actually pretty cool that it's going to be available to free-to-play. And that it will also be a new skill for free-to-play players and not just pay-to-play. Will warding be quest locked? Due to the nature of the skill, we would like it to be accessible as early as possible in-game. Ideally, this means shortly after leaving Tutorial Island, prospective mages will be able to create their own equipment the same way warriors and rangers can. With this in mind, we don't plan to lock the skill behind a quest. Other skills may come up as mining does for smithing, but not be a requirement. Can warding produce best in slot equipment? The goal of warding is to create a viable equipment, particularly for low to medium level players, the same way smithing and crafting produces up to rune and black d'hide armor. However, warding does provide access to defensive magical armors and will not produce armor with high magical accuracy bonuses. We will still expect the top tier magical equipment to include the likes of Arams and Ancestral. This is a scope for further equipment to be added to warding if the community sees fit. NB, Soulbark, and Bloodbark mages. So, I'm not too sure where mage tank armor would be used at all. So I'm not too sure how Soulbark and Bloodbark will go. So how will warding affect the economy? We expect that as a production skill, warding will stimulate the in-game economy overall. It catches further incentives to train farming, hunter, and rune crafting. However, it's far too early to predict the prices of resources, materials, and created equipment, or if the skill will be a good money-making method. Gathering runic energy could be profitable for players willing to sell to others who don't want to get it themselves. And the feedback. The wording skill defined by model success lies more keen to hear your thoughts. Make sure to give us all your feedback to help us shape the concept. I'm going to skip over that. And Song on the Elves. This is this will be a quest I'm actually kind of excited about, because the elf quests and stuff like that have always kind of been fun to do and kind of always intriguing. So we're just gonna get right into it. The Fabled Elf series begins with Plague City, where the player character discovers the whole west side of Ardi has been locked under the quarantine by mysterious figures known as the Mourners. After breaking into the city and rescuing Elaine during biohazard, she gives you some plague samples to have tested by a chemist. Upon completing this task, you discover the plague as a host and confront King Lathis, who admits to fabricating this lie. He claimed this was done to protect the people from his evil brother King Tyrus, who's been corrupted by a mysterious Dark Lord. You undertake the task of freeing the passage to the Elven lands with the goal of facing King Tyrus in Underground Pass, defeating Ivan along the way. In Regicide, you make your way back through the pass into the Elven lands and assassinate King Tyrus with the help of Lord Irewith, King Lathis' ally. On your way to deliver the news to King Lathis, you are intercepted by Irewin, who reveals that it is in fact Irewith and Lathis serving the Dark Lord and that they are plotting to reclaim Camelot. In Morning's End Part 1, you gain access to Lelit, the rebels, elves hideout, and meet with Irewin. After discovering that the Mourners are elves from the city of the capital, you decide to infiltrate Mourner headquarters. There you learn from the head Mourner that their real job is to keep people believing in the plague. Their plan is to use the victim as slaves to dig through a temple with the goal of resurrecting the Dark Lord. Through Morning's End Part 2, travel to the Temple of Light and navigate your way by solving the intricate security system using mirrors and discover the Death Altar at its end. Using a charged crystal repaired to you by Alien, you activate the large crystal at the temple's entrance, sealing it for another 1,000 years. Now it is time to join Elaine and her allies in exposing the plague hoax and starting a revolution against King Lathis and Lord Irewith in the Song of the Elves. The Old School team presents the newest Grandmaster quest, completing the game's first ever storyline. I am actually so excited for this quest. Oh, what did I do? So, Prifddinas. Now, hopefully this is not like Prifddinas in RuneScape 3, and doesn't affect skilling and everything, and like all the AFK methods and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just kind of, you would say, like on edge about Priviness coming to the game. Anyway, so Priviness was first added to the map 14 years ago, and we think it's fair to say it's been a long time coming. Those who managed to bring an end to the schemes of King Lethis and Lord Iorwith will finally be able to access the Crystal City of Prifdifis. Within its walls lie many new characters and challenges. We'll only be detailing 2 things within this ball, but rest assured there's much more to come. We'll be releasing a dedicated blog for Song of the Elves in the near future with more information and additions based on your feedback and ideas. Then we have the Gauntlet. To the PVRs among you, we present the Gauntlet, a brand new challenge requiring players to start from scratch with no weapons or armor. Face off against crystalline versions of monsters, collect resources, weapons, and armor as you go. The pressure will be on as you find your time to gather equipment and is rather limited before you engage your combat. All new boss monsters to face, expected to be one of the toughest old school has ever seen. Skilling Boss. We also have the latest Skilling Boss, which can be found within the city. 2 powerful and formidable weapons use multiple skills with a focus on the mining skill to create explosives, which damage the boss. Unlike Winter Dot, expect this boss to deal damage to you directly rather than through the environment. For successfully defeating the boss, expect to be rewarded with mining resources and a shot at brand new uniques. A focus on item rewards rather than experience. Okay, thank God it's rewards and not experience. This is actually, I do kind of like the idea of the Gauntlet. Be kind of interesting, the kind of like the new bosses and the boss mechanics it will have. And I'm not too sure how you can do a really skilling boss, but it's going to be exciting to see what ideas the old school team has in store for it. So then finally we have the Crystal Armor. To match existing crystal weapons, completing Song of the Elves will grant access to unlock crystal armor from within Prifdifis. One of the many rewards offer, the new set is expected to roughly match the stats of existing crystal shield and be similar in strength to Barrows. Huh. It doesn't look too bad, and actually, not too bad actually. So overall, I do think that the reveals for RuneFest were very good, with the exception of a few things in there. And I'm excited to see what else they have in store for stuff like this. So if you guys actually stuck around for the end, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and see you next.